going through the book and I'm reading all of them. And then I see this one called Heart of Flesh, and it's all these like ruby colors and reds and purples. And it's corresponds to Ezekiel 36:26. And the scripture says, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. And I read that and I'm like, that's the colors I want in my tambourine. Because I read that, and that was exactly what I experienced. I'm like, oh my gosh, other people have experienced this too? This is what happened in my heart when I said yes to Jesus and invited him in. I've never known love like this before, and I am not the same. My heart is so tender. And in that year, tambourine ministry, it lasted for about 6 months to a year. It was good, and God used it all. And just know it wasn't cool in junior high to be in tambourine ministry. But if you know, like, I like unique things. I didn't mind at all. And God did root deep things inside of me because of those women. But that scripture, that heart of flesh, from then on, I'm like, oh, Lord, what you have done in my heart is so extravagant, and I'll never be the same. You know, and then you go through life, and life is a journey. Every season is different. Every relationship is different. And sometimes things that are challenging, they hit us hard. Sometimes it's easy. But one of the biggest things that we could steward through it all is this thing right here. This is the place of our affection. This is central to our physical health, but it's also just in who we are. It's one of the most important things for us to steward, that when we say yes and we experience his love, yes, we're tender and we're moldable. But how do we weather the storms? What do we look like through each season? Proverbs 4:23, I love it, says, keep your heart with all diligence, for from it springs the issues of life. In New Living Translation, it says, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. I believe that our destiny lies right here, more than the things that we do, more than your bun sitting in the seats right here, or you watching on Bethel TV. I believe it's this thing right here in our chest, that's our biggest privilege and responsibility to steward, and that God values it above all else. And so this year, I feel like it's a year of the heart, and that God is awakening things inside of us, and it's really important for us to say, yes, there's an invitation to get closer and get more connected. And when I read the word, one of the people that stand out to me the most as a person of heart is David. I love David. You could read the Psalms, and we see a range of emotions from David, and the highs and the lows and the good places and the bad places and the scary places. I mean, you see it all. And I'm so inspired that through it all, David has a tender heart before the Lord. I'm like, how do you keep that? Because that's our lot. That's where we're supposed to live.